Hello, in this video and the next, we're going to focus on strings and how we can manipulate strings. A string is text data in programming. So letters, numbers, symbols, really anything with quotation marks is a string. And to give you two key terms straight off the bat, well, a substring is just part of a string. So a string can get broken down into individual characters or sequences of characters. A substring is just part of a string. And the process of slicing gives us a substring. Now, each character in a string is given an index number. We can't see this, it's sort of behind the scenes, but they each have an index number which tells us the position of the character, and indexing always starts at 0 in programming. We'll look at this more in relation to arrays, but really behind the scenes, a string is often stored in the same way as an array. To give an example of what I mean by this, well, if hello is my string, each character has an index number. This is the position of the character, and it starts at 0. So H has an index number of 0, E1, the first L2, the second L3, and the O at the end is 4. Now, these two bullet points are important to be able to understand how we use these three tools, which are available in the OCR ERL language. Python and most other languages have got equivalents to these. I must say, the way Python does slicing, I think is quite tricky. Whenever I teach it, my class always seem to find it a little bit hard. So actually, this is an example of where I would argue the OCR ERL way of doing things is simpler than the Python way of doing things. And it's an example of where in your answers, you might choose to write OCR ERL code when it is doing something regarding slicing. But even if you're happy with how Python does it, you should still understand how these work. So this is what it says in the OCR specification, where I've got X and I. X is our starting index and I is the number of characters. So this is what they might give you in the exam as a recap, but what on earth does all of this mean? Well, let me show you some examples. Here, I've assigned a variable called myString to be a string called programming. And in the next line, I'm printing myString.left3 in brackets. Well, first of all, these three subprograms need to be written with a dot at the front, a full stop, and you need to write your string on the left-hand side of this full stop. So we can't just write left on its own. We have to write our string name and then a full stop, then the word left. And here it's a variable, but I could also just put programming straight as a string before it. So what does left3 give us? Well, left3 would just give us pro. Left3 gives us the three far left characters. Right works in a very similar way, except that right gives us I number of characters on the right hand side. So myString.write1 gives us the farmost character, which is G in this particular case. So we use .left and .right to give us substrings on the left-hand side or right-hand side. If you want a substring in the middle of your string, we need to use the proper substring tool. So this is really a subprogram. It's what it's representing. And these two, well, in substring, we've got two what are called parameters to this subprogram. Now, the first parameter, which is labeled X in OCR's guide, is the starting index, and the second thing we put in is a number representing the number of characters we want. So where do we start from and how many do I want is what this is. So with 1 and 3, 1 is our starting index here. Well, capital P is index 0, R must be index 1, so we're starting at R, and this is saying give me 3 characters. And this includes your starting index, so we want ROG here. This would give us the substring ROG. Substring is more confusing, so let's look at another example here. I've got a second variable called heat, and I'm now printing myString.substring3, 2. Well, myString is still programming, so we're looking up at programming. What am I going to get with substring 3, 2? My starting index is 3. What is index 3 in myString? Well, P is 0, R is 1, O is 2, so therefore G is going to be my starting index here. Then I'm getting 2 characters. So that includes G. So I'm getting G, then I'm getting this R. So this left-hand one is going to be GR. And this right-hand side, I'm doing word this time, so a different variable, .write3. Is getting the 3 far right characters in this string, which is E, A, T. And this plus down here is performing another operation you have to be aware of by name. This is concatenating. So concatenation is joining 2 strings together into a single string. So we've got 2 substrings either side of the plus. We're joining them together to give us a single string. it won't add a space when it does this. So therefore, in this particular case, we get great as our string printed out because GR and EAT were combined using concatenation.